All right, so we'll call this meeting to order of County Council for June 25th, 2020. And we're just about halfway through 2020. I'm not sure what the other half's going to look like, but it's been a really interesting first half, that's for sure. We have an agenda in front of everyone. And Madam Clerk, with regards to the roll call, would you address that, please?
Yes, sir. We have all council members here except Councillor Body and Councillor Desai. We have Councillor Little sitting in on behalf of Councillor Desai.
Okay, thanks, Madam Clerk, and welcome, Councillor Little. And Councillor Body may join us later on, Madam Clerk. You're not sure. Okay.
I will let you know when he joins.
Sure, thank you. Okay, so then seeing that we have the
there
agenda.
He is now.
Oh, there he is. Welcome, Councillor and Mayor Body.
I found it.
Always making an entrance, that's for sure.
Well,
I'm not getting used to the 90s yet.
Bill Murdoch used to always say, if you're late for the event, everybody remembers you're there. So.
Oh, I think
Okay.
we all.
Okay. So since we have an agenda in front of us, again, welcome everyone. Is there any declaration of interest with regards to the county councilors today to this agenda? All right. If one does arise, you can declare at that particular time. So moving on, then we have the minutes of June 11th, and I have it's moved by Councillor Robinson and Councillor Hutchinson. Is there any discussion on those minutes of June 11th? Hearing none. Any opposed to those minutes? Hearing none, that is carried. So then we have the next one of the minutes of the Committee of Management. And I have those moved by Councillor Mackey and Councillor Woodbury. And is there any discussion on those particular minutes? Deputy Warden and Councillor Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. We're on the Committee of Management, the Management Committee, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a section in those minutes that speak about the shortfall. I'm trying to get to it right now. Yes, a shortfall ranging from 405,000 to just under 1.4 million. It goes on to say that that was based on assumptions and that those assumptions were outlined. I wonder if they might speak, someone might speak to what those assumptions were.
Okay, thank you for that. Is Jennifer, are you available to speak to those, or maybe Kevin?
I can jump in here first, and Jennifer can add anything she wants.
Okay, well, go ahead, Kevin. Just make sure you have the document in front of you, and go ahead.
Yeah, the assumptions, and I don't have the document right in front of me, but the assumptions are, for example, why we have a best case and worst case is the province has announced funding. We received funding for April and May. They said we were going to get funding for June, but we have not received any formal announcement of dollar amounts. Really, the assumptions on the expenditure side, depending on how long the directives from the ministry and all our PPE and additional staffing have to continue. So if we are to get additional funding and that, the financial impact could be reduced, but we are assuming that we're going to stay in the same protective mode for those long-term care homes with the amount of staff and the amount of protective personal equipment for all the staff there until the end of the year. So that's how these assumptions have been put forward.
Yep. Councillor Hicks, have any further comments there?
No, that's good. Thank you.
Could I ask?
And Kevin, go ahead.
Kevin and Jen, is it also not true that we have not yet received our CMI, the case mix index, from the province yet?
Yeah, not all of the provincial funding announcements have been received yet.
So we assume what those will be, but we don't know for sure. And that can have a good impact on what our bottom line is as well.
That's correct. And we're having similar things with paramedic services. Our industry announcement of an increase hasn't been provided to us yet as well.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And I guess following up with that, Kevin, I know Minister Peters has said that any COVID-related costs that we're supposed to keep track of that. Would that pertain to also with long-term care?
Yeah, we're doing with all of our departments. So paramedic services, long-term care, housing, any of those we're tracking. So any staff that, for example, worked in, say, economic development that were redeployed to long-term care, those wages and benefit costs are being allocated to COVID accounts under long-term care. So we can track how much this is costing us, and if there's funding available, that we can substantiate those costs to the province.
Right. And I know we're going to be dealing with that a little later in the agenda here today with your report. So, okay, thank you for that, Kim and Kevin. And I don't know if Jennifer, did you have anything wish to add, or maybe Kevin caught everything there? Maybe I'm not sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, I'm having some internet challenges, but I think Kevin caught it all. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Are there any other questions to those set of minutes that are there?
I had a question, Mr. Warden.
Go ahead, Councillor Millen.
Thank you. It's in regards to the pandemic pay for frontline employees. I know some healthcare providers have received a letter from the province that they're going to honor their commitment, but they haven't received the money yet. And further to that, it's causing some morale issues because of the different qualifiers about who qualifies for the pandemic pay and who doesn't. I'm just wondering where we're at in respect to those issues.
Maybe I'll go to Kevin first, and maybe Jennifer can follow up. Kevin, any comments there?
Yeah, we still have, there's been more information that's come out from, there's three ministries we're actually dealing with here. Ministry of Health, Ministry of Long-Term Care, and then Ministry of Housing. And they've all sent out different webinars and different Q&As and stuff. So we're working through that. We are right now, we met, payroll staff and departmental staff met on Tuesday, I believe it was this week. We're putting together our list of questions that we still are not clear on in how this is to be applied. But we have, as of late last week, we did get more information, which is helpful to us, but we still have some more questions. And we have communicated to the staff and to the unions that we're working on this, and as soon as we can get it out, we're going to do so. But I guess I'm just being a little cautionary and making sure that we do it right and not have to take money back. But there is discern, I have to admit. There are some employees that are considered not eligible. That is a sticking point with some, and we're again trying to clarify those with the ministry as well to make sure that is their stance.
If I can add as well, the province has been very strict in the communications that we've seen so far, that we are not to be using any kind of discretion with regard to who is receiving funds. So it's what, as Kevin's saying, it's really important that we clarify with them, because if it's not, they don't feel it's appropriate, they certainly won't be allowing us any discretion. The other thing is, we have not received money ourselves yet in any of those envelopes. Have we, Kevin? That was coming in August?
I'll have to check on that, Kim. I know they said once the directives and policies were out that they would start flowing money, but I'd have to check with staff to see if we received it. I'm not aware right now, Kim. But
no, I thought something about August 19th, but
yeah,
double check.
But I didn't know if there was going to be some deposit money first or something like that. But I'd have to check on that.
Actually, if I can step in there,
Go ahead.
we have actually received
Did
money,
you?
yes, for the long-term care homes only.
Okay.
Okay, I know, Kevin, you mentioned at the last meeting, and I know I was in on that pandemic webinar that AMO was providing there a few weeks back, and I know they were working through a few issues there, but they definitely specifically said nothing for management, it's just for the front line, and they were very succinct on where they were providing that funding for, so.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Warden, but that's a tricky one because management, they're not defining what management is. So that becomes very tricky.
Yeah, I know that it wasn't real definite, that's for sure on that.
No.
I know, and AMO is working through that.
Warden, if I might, just a follow-up comment, if I might, I mean, the announcement came out and it was great. It was wonderful that they were going to support the frontline employees. But as Kim pointed out, they're being very strict, and that's unfortunate because they're our employees, not the provincial government. And they're putting us in this position and being the bad guy. So I look forward to clarification that they're going to give us, and I appreciate the tough spot that they put some of our senior staff in trying to make these decisions with limited information. So it's unfortunate, but anyway, there it is. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Millen. And I know AMO has been following along with this very carefully as well. So any other comments? Oh, Councillor Keaveney, is that your hand up?
It is. Thank you, Mr. Warden. And I wonder if I may ask regarding the paragraph, the committee inquired as to whether design and construction requirements to redevelop long-term care homes will be revisited by the province as a result of the learning from COVID-19. And I'm just wondering if Jennifer has any updates at all on that, and does that mean that we have to put our plans on hold for Rockwood Terrace and potentially Grey Gables until the province determines if any changes in those construction plans will be necessary?
So that's a good question, and maybe I'll either go to Jennifer or Madam CAO, who would like to address.
I'll take this. I've been in the minutes from the long-term care committee. There is a section that speaks to where we are with redevelopment. And so at this point in time, we've confirmed to the province that we have the property and where that property is for the new Rockwood Terrace facility. They have several months worth of work to do right now while they both confirm licensing and construction funding for the project. It's our hope that in those intervening months that will give the province some time to work through this new commission committee that they've struck to look into long-term care. The staff at the province, our project manager, couldn't say definitively a timeline for making adjustments to the construction standards or the construction funding, simply providing what assurance that they could, that if those adjustments do happen, we'll be advised and like the consideration would be given for us to adjust our plans to remain in alignment with what they're doing. So I think at this stage, we're going to continue to move forward with a redevelopment project and get our plans in place, and hopefully we'll be fortunate and those two things will intersect as far as what our architect is going to be needing as far as information and what the province is able to provide. So I'm hopeful that we should be okay. If it turns out that there is something really substantial that they're looking at, I feel that our project manager at the province will advise us of that, and we'll be bringing that back to this table for all of you to consider what the appropriate response is.
Okay, does anybody else wish to make a comment as well? Councillor Keaveney, do you have a follow-up on that?
No, I'm comfortable with that, Mr. Warden. Thank you.
I will say at our AMO board meeting last Friday, they talked about the commission and still they're got to develop the terms of reference to how that's going to roll out. But a commission versus an inquiry is much shorter. And so I think you're going to find that they'll be up and running and sort of, be a quicker process for sure. But again, we're sort of, I know there was great discussion on that same point at AMO about new design standards, what's happening, and so yeah, it's very much a topic to you, Councillor Keaveney. Are there any other comments or questions to the minutes?
I had a question there, Mr. Warden, and if I might,
Go ahead.
and it's related to the long-term care redevelopment update. And I suppose, Kim, I'm just wondering, given all the challenges with long-term care across the province related to COVID, our unique position right now at the cusp of building a new facility, is there an opportunity here for us to maybe expand our build and get more beds for that facility? Is that, it just occurred to me that there seems to be an urgency across the province to provide more long-term care and better long-term care, not necessarily directed at Grey County, but is there an opportunity for us here?
I think we are at a very interesting juncture through you, Mr. Warden. At the same time, the province is wanting to look carefully at the delivery of long-term care services. Bill 175 is also on the table, which is looking at home care services and what model that should take, what the future of that service is. And those two things really do, I think, have a significant impact on one another. We're still very much, looking for more information. And I think as this situation evolves and more information comes out, we should be looking and assessing exactly where we are at. What does if the funding model is going to change, that's new information that will be brought to the table for council to consider about what the impact would be on the county if we were to change something, or if the design standards change significantly, that will have an impact on the operating costs of the home. So there's a lot of moving parts here still.
Okay, thank you.
Good question, Councillor Millen, and I think it's going to be an interesting next few months of how that rolls out for sure. Any other comments or questions with regards to the minutes that are there? All right, and again, that was moved by Councillor Mackey and second by Councillor Woodbury. Is there anybody opposed to that resolution? Okay, hearing none, that is carried. Okay, so then moving forward then, we have no reports and no bylaws, and we have good news and celebrations. And so I'm going to go around the virtual horseshoe that we normally have, and so I'm going to start with Chatsworth. Any good news and celebrations from Chatsworth?
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and good morning, County Council. Good news in Township of Chatsworth, our township office, all of our staff are now back in the office, and I'd like to thank all the CEOs in Grey County for all the safeguards that have been put in place. We plan to open to the public by appointment only on the first Monday after Canada Day. So that is certainly good news for members of the public that need to rely on our essential services. Just want to wish everyone a happy Canada Day, even though it's likely going to be a different Canada Day. We'll celebrate in our own way. And I'd be remiss if I didn't wish my mother a happy 82nd birthday today. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Councillor Mackey, and send our best wishes from County Council to your mother. Brian, do you have anything to add? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. No, I think Scott got to the heart of it. A lot of, not much going on because of COVID and everything shut down. We were going to try and do some Canada Day stuff, but that's seems like it can't happen. Anyway, good.
Well, happy Canada Day to you, Brian. All right, so we'll move on then to next one is Georgian Bluffs. Councillor Burley.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and good morning to the County Council. There's always many wonderful things happening in Georgian Bluffs. It's just a fantastic place to be. We're looking forward to getting our haircuts and sitting down to a pub, which we have all had an opportunity to do that. It seemed really different. Things are moving on great. Our municipal office is running in split shifts. We're dealing with everything as per the directives from the province. It's just been a great time of the year. The weather's great. And by the way, my Hascap berry production is well underway. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Councillor Burley. And Councillor Carlton, do you have anything to add?
I would just add, first, good morning, everyone in County Council. And I just want to add that for Canada Day, what staff suggested we do is record a virtual message that's going to be shared through social media with everybody. And so far, mine is the best recording.
Oh, obviously. Well, very good for sharing that. All right, thank you for that. And next we have Grey Highlands, and I'll let Councillor Little go first, and then I'll maybe follow up there as well. Councillor Little?
Well, thank you, Mr. Warden, and it's nice to be back. Hello, everyone. Although I wasn't sure I was in the right place when I was looking at everybody's portrait, but yeah, I'm happy to be back. Member Desai asked me if I would just let County Council know that our local chapter of Rotaract was successful in their recent fundraising, which I think he's made you aware of, and they were able to present a check of $23,298 to the Chapman House Hospice. And additionally, last night at 7 p.m., various emergency services made some noise for the 2020 grads. And there are various videos on social media online. And so from Grey Highlands, we extend our congratulations to the grads and wish them best wishes in all their future endeavors. And that's all I have, Mr. Warden.
Well, thank you, Councillor Little. And I guess just to add, I know that we're coming up to our 1st of July, and certainly a lot of things happening and being busy around Grey Highlands, along with a few misfortunes with regards to our Eugenia Falls, and people have to read the particular signs that need to be followed through. We see an increase of visitors and traffic moving through throughout Grey Highlands, and probably heading toward other parts of Grey County and Bruce itself. As a warden, I was on the healthcare town hall last night with our local MPP Bill Walker and Lisa Thompson, along with MP Ruff and Dr. Era. It was a very good, I think it was a very good forum, in the sense of a lot of good questions came forward as far as COVID-19 and that, so that went very well. Other than that, I want to wish everybody a happy July 1st. We live in the best country in the world, and I don't think anybody was going to argue that one. And have a safe holiday, everyone, for that. So, moving on, then I will move on now to Hanover and Councillor Mayor Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Good morning, everyone. Things are good in Hanover. We're just living the dream, like George and Bluffs. So, and we're also celebrating the 2020 graduates with messages, videos, street banners, lots of noise from police and fire, and we just congratulate all graduates. And we are doing a virtual Canada Day, which will be on Facebook and YouTube and on our local TV station. So happy Canada Day, everyone. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Councillor Patterson, and Deputy Warden and Councillor Hicks. Do you have anything to add?
Yes, just in my home, there are two graduates, one from grade 8 and another one from high school, heading off to U of T in September. One thing I would add, there are a lot of burly men in Grey County, a lot of guys growing beards. Some of them are going to be shaving it off for charity. So I would invite you to visit the website oshfoundation.ca. That's oshfoundation.ca/beards. And there you'll be able to see all the men that are participating in this fundraiser. I can tell you that my wife very much wants July 11th to come so that this thing can disappear. That's it, Mr. Warden.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and all the best on that for sure. Okay, so then moving on, then we'll go to Municipality of Meaford and Barb Pompous.
Thanks, Mr. Warden, and good morning, everyone, again. There's an awful lot of dreams in this great county of ours. We're living the dream here in Meaford as well. So add to the plethora of dreams and great places to live. We are slowly returning with our recovery plan to having more and more staff come in and protective precautions taken, of course. Our business community and restaurants particularly are gearing up to open sidewalk patios using bump outs into the parking lot area. I think the Councillor Keaveney mentioned that last time. That will be happening soon. July 3rd is a magical day for our harbor to be open officially, and so the slips in full use and boats launched there. Our Memorial Park shoreline has been reconstructed, and it is really well done. It's there's a lovely walkway on the top of it. It looks like it's solid and will hold. Not much of a beach, of course, in fact, very little. But what it's doing is attracting kayakers and canoeists to get out on the water, and that's so wonderful to see. I've been doing a message from the mayor every Friday, and it's been posted on Facebook and on YouTube, and I'm really astounded at the response it's been getting, but it's just reinforcing our communication plan and the precautions we need to take, and some good news stories, some encouragement, and it's been attracting considerable attention of, in the thousands of hits, which I find pretty astounding. Anyway, it's good to do. We did contribute to the Make Some Noise last night at 7 p.m. to congratulate all of our grads, and that is an accomplishment that all mums and dads and grandparents and youngsters themselves should be very, very proud of, and we're happy to join in the noise on that occasion. So I think we're living the dream here and looking forward to summer such as it will be. We do have a couple of little beaches open for swimming in and out quickly with keeping distance, and that is being used as well. Happy Canada Day, everyone. However we celebrate, we know we're all together in this across our wonderful country and sharing this dream we live in. Thank you.
Well, thanks for enlightening us on that dream that we all share, and it's definitely important. And it comes summer is ice cream. Oh, Councillor Keaveney.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. And just to add to Mayor Klumpus's comments, Meaford, yes, we're living the dream for sure, and we've got construction everywhere. We've got our new school coming along and our library with a projected opening date of early October. Thompson Street's under construction. Our Trowbridge Street Bridge is now blocked off and construction is beginning there. We also have our public meeting coming up on the 6th of July for People Care, our new nursing home in Meaford. So we've got a lot going on. Chef Gilles Haché, who's been giving out the 3 meals, had 647 meals delivered last night. It's incredible how that program is growing. And just to add to the discussion on the restaurant patios, we're looking at a plan to take our market square and make it into more of an event space and add picnic tables there for people to take their takeout food and go and sit down and have performance circles for musicians. And apparently right now, according to provincial rules, they're not allowed to sing or dance, but they may play instruments. So we're looking to get that underway and determining how we may deal with washrooms for the public. So that's exciting, and we'll add more to that at the next County Council meeting. And again, happy Canada Day, everyone, and congratulations to all the grads. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. Thanks, Councillor Keaveney. And moving on to Owen Sound and Councillor Body, Mayor Body, what great things are talk about in Owen Sound?
Thanks, Warden McQueen. We've got City Hall staff back. We'll reopen the doors in another week. We note that we welcome John Woodbury to the beard shave off. You know, there's a number of people out there that would love to put the razor to the throat of a politician. They'd love to cut her throat. But we're happy just to take their money, get it donated to the hospital, and maybe keep those people, because of COVID, and their blades arm's length from us. I happened to be driving through Southgate on Tuesday, and I noticed when I stopped at the Tim Hortons there that there was quite a parade in Dundalk. The fire trucks were out, the marching bands were marching. There was great big balloons with 6 and O at the front of the parade, and there was a good 3 people in the parade. So I stopped and asked what it was about and found out that apparently it was their deputy mayor's birthday. So congratulations to Brian for turning 60. Sorry I didn't join the parade. I didn't want to get up to 4 people that were excited about it. Wishing everybody a happy Canada Day. We wish we could celebrate, but next year we look forward to doing it again. And you know, if we can find a way to shoot off fireworks later in the year and pull the community together, we want to do that. But that's all for me for now. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Councillor Boddy, and Councillor Millen is after you, so just beware. Councillor O'Leary, do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and good morning. In addition to Mayor Boddy's comments, I just want to mention that the Owen Sound Farmers Market will be open this Saturday for the first time since COVID, with revised hours from 9 a.m. till noon. So we're looking forward to that. Thanks very much.
Thank you for that, Councillor O'Leary. Okay, so then moving on now, we go to Township of Southgate and Councillor Woodbury, Mayor Woodbury.
Thank you. Yeah, we were trying to keep it quiet a little bit about the grads and just let Brian think that all the beeping of the horns and all the noise was about his, I heard somewhere 35th birthday, but yeah, we got in on the celebrations yesterday. Brian was in Holstein and I was in Dundalk, and lots of people out on their front lawn. Great to see. Our farmers market is back in Dundalk. They're doing just a pickup type thing, so that's coming along. We've had several planning meetings. It's exciting to see a lot of these projects that are driving forward. We've seen out at the Holstein Mall little bits of expansion there and times and what they can do. So it's an exciting time for all of this. And as far as cutting the beards or cutting our throats, as long as my wife isn't involved in getting rid of my beard, I'm okay. But she may be the biggest contributor. So have a good Canada Day.
Thanks, Councillor Woodbury. And Councillor Millen.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and just a thank you to everyone for the kind birthday wishes. I've been asked, how does it feel to turn 60? And I said, I have no idea. I've never been 60 before, but it feels good so far. Yeah, we had a great parade in Holstein at the west end of the township yesterday to celebrate the 2020 grads. There was some grads all dressed up, standing at the bridge downtown, the new bridge, thanks Pat, downtown. They were looking pretty fresh, I had to admit. And so just wish everyone a happy Canada Day.
Well, thank you very much, Councillor Millen. And moving on now to the Blue Mountains, Mayor Schweber.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Warden. Certainly, things are progressing well here. We are starting to open up. So far, we haven't been overwhelmed with visitors, but they are picking up in number all the time. And so we put a couple of measures in place in our parks, and we've hired additional bylaw staff to try to keep things to a reasonable number. We're going to be a new parking bylaw coming up. So things are moving forward. Of course, every change you make, there's a little interesting debate goes on, but generally things have been well received. So we're pretty happy with that. For Canada Day, there's a Peak to Shore Canada Day celebration. It's on both Facebook and YouTube. This is something that is spearheaded by the village at Blue Mountain, and we're also Collingwood is contributing, as is the town of Blue Mountain. So there will be a 3-hour party on Canada Day online. There will be some live locations where there'll be a broadcast from, and then there'll be a lot of musicians and people contributing to that, and council has also taped a message for that. So I believe I stepped out of last council meeting to do my little piece for that. So yeah, everything is good. We are also celebrating our grads, and you know, wish them all the best. Certainly it's a great accomplishment to have graduated this year, and I'm sure it's something they'll remember more than if it would have been another year. So that's all I have, and I'll turn it over to Councillor Potter.
Okay, well, just before I do that, Councillor Swever, there was an important minister that came to the Blue Mountains last week.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes, that was on almost 2 weeks ago now. It's I think the Minister of Tourism did visit, and the warden also attended, and we did tour the village and Clarksburg and a few other sites so that people could show the minister what they were doing to open up and how to do it safely. And that was the theme of the minister's visit, was to show people in Ontario that you know, people are open for business, but there are protocols in place, and that if people do visit, they should be following the protocols. So it was a good visit, ended up at the village. There's a whole bunch of new safety precautions they put in the village. There's trails are marked one way only, and the businesses all have their own safety protocols.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Swever. And Councillor Potter, do you have something to add? Anything?
Just I'll try to be quick because the mayor covered a lot of it, but we are reopening, and I want to say it's been great to be able to talk to Dr. Era through the calls every Friday. So I thank whoever is organizing those at county because it is a real help, and I was able to get his advice and pass it on to staff about things we can do in our downtown chorus, and even things we can do within our facilities. So if you haven't been joining those calls, it is a great place to get some information about how we can safely reopen. I just wanted to add, our boats are back in the harbor, which is always a great sight. It's always you know, as much a sign of spring as the arrival of the robins. And we have a couple of things going on. The library has its Wired Wednesdays going on through its Facebook page, and the Craigleith Depot has on Sundays Bon Appetit, which is one of our library assistants, Alessia, going through some of her recipes and recipes from the archives. So they're from some very old cookbooks and heritage type recipes that you might enjoy. So it's the Craigleith Heritage Depot Facebook page is where you can find that on Sundays. So enjoy Canada Day, everyone. Somebody said earlier, we live in the greatest country, and we do. We're very fortunate. And I want to say to Councillor Milne, you're not 60, you're just celebrating the 21st anniversary of your 39th birthday.
There you go. There you go. That made him happy or happier. Thank you very much for that, Councillor Potter. And moving on to West Grey, Mayor Robinson, Councillor Robinson, go ahead.
Well, good morning, and through you, Warden. This is the time of year when some hospital foundations are holding their annual general meetings. And I just can't help but reflect on how fortunate we are here in Grey County to have access to great health care. Also, I would like everybody to know that West Grey has a new website, and I would ask everybody to visit that. And West Grey has opened our community gardens, so that's an exciting event. Happy Canada Day! Happy Canada Day to one and all. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Councillor Robinson. And I think next time we'll start with West Grey, because I think the last time you had to go last as well. So we'll get that reversed order. And Councillor Hutchinson, do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Warden McLean. And we're always seem to be last, just for the record. But I just want to say good morning, good morning, County Council, and of course the county staff. I just want to say congratulations to all the grads as well. I think that's a wonderful achievement, especially for the conditions that they had to complete their school year. And I think Mayor Robinson's covered a couple of the items I was going to suggest. And happy Canada Day, everyone. Thank you.
Well, thanks. Thank you there, Councilor Hutchison. And we'll make sure you guys get to go first next time, right? And that. So just one other thing I wanted to add in Grey Highlands, I forgot, was we support it along with Chapman's ice cream. We have 3 public schools in our municipality. So Grey Highlands sponsor 2 of the municipalities, and Chapman's did the other. And we posted all their grad pictures in our local paper. It's a full page ad of each school graduates. So I came out yesterday. So it was something that we felt that was a request. And so we thought that was very, very important to showcase those students. So. Okay, so moving on now. So there is no other, thanks. That's great to everyone. That's great to share all those great news and events that are happening for sure. So at this time, I have an adjournment from, sorry, we have, what I have on here? No, I have just adjournment. So that's moved by Councillor O'Leary and second by Councillor Hicks. Any opposed to that? That is carried. So we'll move over to the let's see. We'll move over to the committee of the whole agenda.